I love the title, The Curvy Film Critic. Yes.
Thank you, Diva. And I love that I'm finally getting down to sit and talk with you. It has been eons that I've been trying to get to you, and I finally got to you. So I'm like,
That
I'm
means
such
so
a
much.
fan of your work, such
Thank
a fan of your
you.
work. You are just one of the brightest stars out there. Let me stop eating up my time and ask you these questions, girl. I saw an interview where you talked about Justin and you said that he is someone who knows how to tap into all the colors of humanity and is attuned to a silent moment. And I just wanted to get you to expound upon that for me for a second, because I thought that was beautifully said.
Sometimes, he would do things such as, all right, we're driving down the road. There's a scene with Terry and Carney where we're in the car, and I ask him about the sacrifice, whether it was worth it. Completely improv, because he said, drive this way and then turn around and keep driving. I'm gonna keep the camera rolling, and all right, now you guys talk. All right, now talk about this. And we did. It just, first day on set, he didn't want me wearing makeup. It was so freeing, really, to have that kind of creative experience with someone that's just constantly finding the truth.
There's a Stevie Wonder song that's out right now, called How Can We Heal Our Nation's Broken Heart? And when I hear that song and I watch this movie, it brought me
Mm,
in tune to the same place. And I just want to
mm.
know how you might feel about that.
I think about when James Baldwin talks about the integrity of an artist, that if you don't lie, if you don't cheat, I'm paraphrasing, it's a force you didn't ask for, but it's not only your glory, your responsibility, it's almost our only hope. I really do believe that as an artist, it's our job to hold a mirror up to society. And it's a privilege to be able to be a part of films like this that illuminates a side of humanity that we want to look away from. And we prefer to look away from it so long that we find ourselves here where we are right now. Bob Matthew did not invent the ideology. It was invented prior to the Jim Crow era, prior to the Reconstruction era. I mean, if you want to go all around the world, this idea of dominating other people is nothing new. But what are we as an evolved species going to do about it? And so I think this film, or a Stevie Wonder song, or, or a beautiful painting, I think it's our job as artists to ask these questions of humanity.
Thank you so much for weighing in on that for me. You're such a prolific and profound speaker when you answer a
Oh,
question. I hope that I
thank
have
you.
many more trips around the sun with you, because I think you're wonderful.
I think you are wonderful, and I can't wait. You got to come back and talk to me next year. Meredith, we
I
got to have
will,
our.
girl. Let a sister know.
I just told my publicist Meredith we gonna we got to talk about the Apple TV show. That we all have a lot to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Jurnee. I
All right, the
appreciate
Curvy
you.
Critic.
Bye. When I watched The Order, it reminded me of this quote from George Santayana, from The Life of Reason back in 1905. And we hear this quote all the time, but it's always misquoted. But the actual quote is, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And we
Mhm.
see this happen within the confines of this film. We didn't know that we were going to see that happen, but we see that happen with The Order and with Bob Matthews and in the
Mhm.
surrounding circumstances. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about our world can never quite get it together, that we continue to repeat history?
Well, I think that's an exceptional quote. So thanks for sharing that. I hadn't heard that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's why the film is so resonant. I wasn't aware of this story before I got involved with the project. And I think most people weren't. I mean, people, knew about Alan Berg maybe, and maybe some people knew about the Turner Diaries. They knew bits and pieces, but, I think this is, one of the first instances of, a real domestic terror threat. And, that threat is, as imminent now as it ever has been. And so, yeah, I think, purely as a cautionary tale, that these are the kinds of movies that I love to make, that I love to be involved with, that, people can connect with in a really deep way. and wrestle with and talk about it at dinner and discuss what it means in their own lives and the times that we're living. And so yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think it's the movie's resonant for that reason, for sure.
Cool. I heard Jurnee say something about the fact that she loved working with Justin because he has all colors of humanity attuned to a silent moment. Would you agree with that?
He's the kind of guy who can get on anyone's emotional wavelength. I believe that. And I think that's what makes him such an exceptional actor's director and performance director. I mean, you look at all of his films, whether it's Macbeth or Snowtown Murders, and you'd see just these incredible performances. And I always wondered how it was, before I even worked with him, how does this guy get so many great performances from his actors? And I got to see it in person and witness it in real life. And I think, he's just like an incredibly emotionally attuned guy. And when you speak to him and you guys have a conversation, he really listens. It's almost like he's, looking through you into your soul, and I think people feel that and they feel comfortable. Actors feel comfortable with him in that regard. And so I think that is what allows him to build so much trust with his actors and kind of what makes them feel comfortable kind of going to all of these different places with him. And you feel like very, as you said, attuned to that and in control.
Now, I've asked your actors this question, and I want to ask you this question. I've asked them this question about you. Jurnee said in an interview that you guys did a little while ago that you have an ability to bring out all the colors of humanity attuned to a silent moment in your directing. How do you feel about them saying that about you?
I feel very flattered that they said that. Well, look, I love actors. They're the most important people on set for me, and I'm married to an actor, and I think I wanted to be an actor at one time, and I think what they do is quite extraordinary. So I do put a lot of time and space and give a lot of thought about that kind of lead up to them playing the roles and the sort of research that they do. But I think it's about, just being a fan, being a fan of actors and sort of wanting to kind of make sure that the space they walk on is as real and as sort of alive and as sort of sympathetic to kind of what they're about to do as possible.
I believe you accomplished that, my man. I really do. I do want to ask you one last thing. The fire scene, how long did it take to prep and shoot that? Because it went on for a minute, and I can't imagine that was an easy thing to prep and shoot.
No, it wasn't. It was doubly hard because Alberta had just gone through some of the biggest fires that they'd had for years. So there was a massive sort of fire ban on there for a long time, and that scene kept on being kind of like put back more and more. Unfortunately, the fire ban was lifted, and we were able to kind of do it. But it was extremely, it was not much time. Resources weren't great, so we managed to kind of, get something out there that reflected somehow the kind of what actually happened in the end with the story.
It was a fabulous scene. I really enjoyed watching it. It was intense, and I was looking at how it was shot all the way down to the close-up of the bullets sitting on top of the casings. I really enjoyed the way that you shoot and the way that you direct and bring a story to the screen. And with that brings me to the end of my time, but I didn't want my time to end without communicating that to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Cheers.
Nice to meet you. Cheers.